Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Piella. I'm the Director of Brokerage Technology and Training for Royal LePage Canada, and I'm delighted this afternoon to welcome you for a fantastic session with Mark Leader. Mark Leader is a national speaker, author, and founder of Leader's Choice, a real estate training and coaching company. Over the course of 20 years, Mark and his team of trainers and coaches have helped over 40,000 sales professionals raise their production and increase their revenues by hundreds of millions of dollars. From the age of 9, when he started selling in his family's clothing store, Mark knew he discovered his passion. He has stayed that course ever since. As an agent, he listed over 1,000 properties and averaged 93 closings a year for 8 years consecutively, without the help of a personal assistant. And today, Mark will help us understand how to leverage the FSBO segment. And now it is my true pleasure to welcome Mark to the Learning Services stage. Mark, take it away.
Thank you very, very much, David. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me today. In the time that we've got together here today, gang, let me share with you what my objectives are. I actually have 4 objectives for this webinar today. My first one is I'd like to have some fun. You know, I need some fun right now in my life. I've been on the road, teaching, speaking, training. I'll probably end up doing about 100 cities this year. And I have to tell you something, that it doesn't matter the size of the audience, whether there's 20 managers in the room or whether there's 800 or 900 salespeople in the audience. I get really nervous when I have to public speak. In fact, do you know what the 3 greatest fears of mankind is? They say the first one, believe it or not, is public speaking. The second one is death. And the third one is dying while you're up here public speaking. So my first objective today is I want us to have some fun. My second objective here today, if you allow me to accomplish it, is I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to go through a bit of a paradigm shift with me. And when I say a paradigm shift, you know, as long as I've been in the real estate business now, and it's going on 40 years, this would be my 40th year from being a salesperson to an office owner. You name it, I've probably done it in one way or another in the real estate business. But there's something that's been consistent through that whole time, and more today than ever. But at one time, we used to talk about 20% of the people did 80% of the business, and then there was some buzz about 10 and 90. But you know, whatever it is, what I can tell you that the highest income earners in the real estate industry have always understood one thing clearly, always understood one thing clearly. And that is that listings are the name of the game. Listings are the way to the top. We could say it 100 different ways. The company that has the most inventory controls the market. The agent that has the most inventory has the most peace and balance in their life, have cash flow, etc. So today I want you to have a paradigm shift, and if any of you are spending a lot of time working with buyers, I want you to maybe have a rethink about that and understand that no matter how hot the market is or how off the market is, the agent that carries the best inventory, the agents that carry the most listings will make the most amount of money. And today's presentation, we're going to work specifically on the for sale by owner listing presentation itself. And I'm going to make you strong at that before we're done. My third objective then, if you allow me to accomplish it, is I'd like to join forces with you to help you achieve those goals of being strong at bringing in more for sale by owner listings and being strong on those for sale by owner listing appointments. And my fourth objective here today is that if you never hear the words Mark Leader again, we never get an opportunity to be together again, I'm going to teach you some stuff today that's going to help you make more money. I'm going to teach you how to do it in less time, gang. And I'm going to teach you how to have a little bit more fun. You know, if we can make some more money, do it in less time and have more fun, I would think that the hour that we're going to be together today would be really, really worthwhile. So why don't you do this? How about you pick up a pen, find a blank sheet of paper, and let's start working on the for sale by owner listing presentation. Now, when we're talking about the for sale by owner listing presentation, whether you're walking in the door on a for sale by owner, Whether you're walking in the door through to list a property for someone you met at an open house, someone that was referred to you from a friend, someone you picked up door knocking, cold calling, someone who is a past customer, there's a process to the listing appointment. And I honestly believe before we can get in talking about the for sale by owner, we need to go through the process of the listing appointment itself. And if you can spell the process, you can sell it. And one of the things that I always tell people that I'm with is let the process handle the appointment, not you. In other words, don't do step 3 until you accomplish 2. Don't do 2 until you do 1. Let the process handle itself. And the listing appointment process, gang, goes like this. You've got your listing. So what does the L stand for? Well, the L is your lead-in step. That's the ring the doorbell, smile, pay them a compliment, take them to the kitchen table, small talk, smart, and until they bring up real estate. And once they bring up real estate, then you have sold yourself and you go to the investigative stage. That's where maybe you go through your client qualifier to see if you can find a problem, go and inspect the house. Then you come back to the kitchen table and you're going to go through your show and sell stage of the appointment. This is where you are going to demonstrate Royal LePage's value proposition. This is where you are going to demonstrate your value proposition. And this is where you're going to demonstrate your marketing plan and how your marketing plan is going to help them achieve what they're looking to achieve. After you go through that and they acknowledge the marketing plan, then under the show and sell, you're also going to do your pricing presentation. Now, at the end of the pricing presentation, if all goes well, you're going to move then to tie them down, or what we could say is close, get the signature. And in the perfect world, they just sign the listing for us. But you see, gang, the people we're dealing with today are far better educated than they ever have been before. And this is more times than not where they're going to start hitting us with some objections. You know, they may say they got a friend in the business. They want to wait till spring, summer, winter, or fall. They want to fix it before they list. Relax Realty said they could get them more money. Bob down the street at BS Realty said he'd do it for less commission. Or in this situation for today, they want to sell it themselves. And when that happens, you then move to your investigative stage. You find out why they want to sell it themselves. You then negotiate and close on it. In other words, get the signature. And then the G stands for get out quickly. After you get that listing signed and get all of your paperwork signed, gang, you want to head out the door quickly. You know how many times I've heard realtors, they talk themselves into a listing and then talk themselves out of a listing? What do they say? What's that old joke goes like this? Samson slew 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass, and 10,000 listings are killed every day with the exact same weapon. In other words, we talk ourselves in and talk ourselves out. So as soon as you get that listing signed, you clean up your paperwork and you head out the door. So if that's the listing appointment process, then along with that process, you see, gang, you got to understand there's a lot of psychology that goes along with the listing appointment process. You know, whether you were a doctor and you were going to do an operation on somebody, there's a psychology the doctor takes the patient through in order to make sure the patient's mind is at ease. But the doctor already knows, because of his experience, the different stages they will go through. Could be a lawyer, and you've got an issue, and the lawyer, there's psychology to the appointment the lawyer takes you through in order to get to the end result. Well, full service real estate's been around now for over 100 years. And in fact, Royal LePage has been a leader in the industry for over 100 years. And we know, after the industry's been around that long, that there's a psychology that the seller will go through, or stages the seller will go through during the listing appointment. In other words, what I mean is this. The first stage they're going to go through is someone's going to say, listen, we're only going to listen to what this realtor has to say tonight. You see, whether it was 2 people that own the house or today there could be 3 or 4 people, generally speaking, one of them arranges for the appointment. And what I can tell you is this, is that whoever arranged the appointment, the other person that's involved with the property is going to look at them and say, listen, man, I got no problem meeting with the realtor. But you and I, we're only going to listen to what they have to say, and then we're going to get them out the door. And after they go, we're going to talk. We're going to talk. That means that if that's the mindset that they have before you even walk through the door, your mindset has to be this, is that I'm going to take that listing if I choose to take it. You see, the best of the best of the best, gang, if they set up a Bonafide listing appointment, they wouldn't go on an appointment unless it's Bonafide, meaning it's gettable. They give you 2 hours, told you how much they want, give you enough information to do your ballpark CMA, make sure all the owners are there. See, these are all components that need to be in place. And if all of those components are in place, you still need to know, though, they're only going to listen to what you have to say, then they're going to get you out the door, which means that you got to go in with the attitude that I will take that listing if I choose to take it. The next stage of the appointment, then the seller's got to say to themselves this, gee whiz, this realtor seems like they're a good people. Gee whiz, they seem, or he or she, they seem like good people. In other words, gang, you want to sell yourself first. Remember that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And caring about what other people care about is truly what caring is all about. So they're not going to listen to a word you say, really, when it's said and done, or even truly give you an opportunity at this listing if they don't like you. So you've got to sell yourself first. You have to sell yourself first. The next stage in the appointment then, if the first stage is they're only going to listen to what you have to say, the second stage they go, gee whiz, this realtor's a good person. The next stage then, they've got to say it to themselves in their mind, I never looked at it that way. I never looked at it that way. Which means that the realtor needs to find a problem. You see, gang, if they don't have a problem, they really don't need you. I mean, think about this. It's Thursday night, and there's a couple sitting around, and one says to the other, what would you like to do tonight? And the other one says, I don't know, let's go to the mall. And the first one says, no, we went there the other day. And said, well, what about let's go see your parents? No, we were there last night. I got it. Let's call a realtor over, let's list the house, and let's blow 40 grand in commission. You see, gang, it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If they don't have a problem, they don't need you, which means your job for the first part of the appointment is to find a problem. After you find the problem, they have to move to the fourth stage of the psychology of the listing appointment, is they've got to say to themselves, I can't afford to lose money. I mean, if we're going to do this, they got to say in their mind, I can't afford to lose money. Remember that fear of loss is a greater motivator than the opportunity is to gain. See, they wouldn't have you over there if they didn't have an idea that they wanted to make this move. You have to remember, gang, I mean, most people would rather go get a root canal fix than have a salesperson sitting at their kitchen table for an hour or two. So they got to have a reason to have you there, and they've got to say to themselves, if I don't do something, I can't afford to lose money, which means then you have to solve their problem for them. In other words, show them how you're actually going to save them money or put more money in their pocket after the transaction's completed. And the fifth part in the psychology is they have to say to themselves, seems safe. This realtor seems like a good person. honest. Let's make a decision, which means then the mind of the realtor is you have to get a decision. Whether it's a yes or a no doesn't necessarily really matter. You know, it's the call me back that costs realtors money. You know how many realtors have a six-figure income coming in tomorrow, the day after, next week, next month? You see, I'd rather have them let me down now so that I can move on and try to find someone else who wants to sell than to give me a call you back. If you hear the words call you back, I want you to think of this. I call that the kiss of death in the real estate business. But if they are stubborn and it's got to be a call me back, make sure you have a specific time and date that you're going to be back in that house. So the final part of the psychology of the appointment is they have to feel comfortable with you and feel safe so they can make a decision. And it's your job to get that decision, either a yes or a no. So if we've got a listing appointment process, the lead in, investigate, show and sell, tie down, investigate, negotiate and close and get out quickly, that's your process. Then you've got the psychology of the listing appointment itself. Now again, I want to reiterate, whether this is a warm call, a cold call, you met these people through an open house, you knocked on the for sale by owner's door and booked the appointment, whatever it may be, the listing appointment and the psychology of the listing appointment generally stays the same. The words will change, but the process and the psychology stays the same. So if that's the process and the psychology of the listing appointment, let's now zero in more specifically on the for sale by owner listing appointment. And when we talk about the for sale by owner listing appointment, gang, I want you to remember that there's 6 truths to listing a FSBO, there's 5 keys, and there's 7 reasons why you can put more money in the for sale by owner's pocket, even after paying you a commission when the transaction's completed. So let's first start off and talk about the 6 truths to work in those for sale by owners. The first one is 9 out of 10 end up listing with a real estate company. Now 1 out of 10 is going to get it sold, and good for them. But the truth of the matter is, gang, 9 out of 10 will end up listing with a realtor when it's said and done. Now, one of the things that you need to make sure of when you're on these appointments is that at no time do you want to tell the FSBO that they can't sell the house themselves. In fact, I would encourage you, when you reach to the point when we talk about the 7 reasons, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is start off with saying, now, you know, Mr. or Mrs., I just want you to know something. Especially now that I've taken a look through your house with you, I have to tell you something. I think you can sell your house yourself. You got an absolutely beautiful house. In fact, the ad that I originally read, it really doesn't do it justice. But then again, that's not what you do for a living. But the truth of the matter is, I still believe that Mark Leader and Royal LePage, we can sell your house for more money faster, meaning you're going to put more money in your pocket after the transaction's completed. But I just want you to know right up front that I personally believe that this house is going to sell and that you could sell it your house. You sell it yourself if you wanted to. The second truth is that when you're going to work FSBOs, gang, you got to follow up, follow up, follow up. You know, I read a study one time, not that long ago, and I want to say it was from Korea, but I may be wrong. It may be wrong because I do subscribe to many different real estate subscriptions. But they did a survey, a study, whatever we may want to call it. And the survey said for the realtor to get in the door honestly, they have to follow up a minimum of 6 to 7 times. The study went on to say that the average realtor only tries to contact the FSBO twice. And that's why they can become so frustrated. Now, don't get me wrong, as you master your dialogue of booking the appointments, that 6 or 7 will get less and less and less. In fact, it wasn't that long ago, I got challenged to call a for sale by owner, and I was able to get them to meet with us on the first call. So there's not a question that all of them are going to be 7, but what I am going to say to you is this, is you got to be prepared to follow up, follow up, follow up. The third truth then is that the for sale by owner presentation is the same process that we talked about at the start, the LISTING, but it's a different set of words. It's just a different set of words. It's no different than the words would be different if you went on someone called you to go see a property that was listed for sale that didn't sell. No different than if you got a referral. Each of those conversations, the words are different, but the process remains the same. It's no different than with the for sale by owner gang. A lot of realtors are intimidated by the for sale by owner, but don't be. It's the exact same process. The words just change a little bit. The fourth truth then is that you can put more money in their pocket even after paying a commission. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you the 7 reasons why. And you have to believe in that. You have to believe in that of all your hearts and hearts, because if not, if you don't believe in it, then that's going to come through on your presentation. Number 5 is when you're looking at the for sale by owner ads, or you're talking to the for sale by owner on the phone and they give you a price, don't be fooled by the price. You know, don't say, oh, look at the ad. The guy's asking $900,000 for this house. That house isn't worth a penny over 8. Or that guy's asking, or that person's asking $400,000 for that building lot. It's not worth a penny over 3. Whatever the case may be. Don't be fooled by the price, because remember that if it was priced right, it would sell. If it was priced right in the beginning, it would probably sell. It would probably sell. So don't let the price stop you from contacting them. The 6th truth then is that full service real estate has been around now for over 100 years. And any service, any company that's been around for over 100 years has to bring true value. And you have to believe in that, gang. You have to believe in that. You know, full service real estate's not like the Rubik's Cube phase. If the people on the webinar remember the Rubik's Cube, or that silly pet stone that was a phase for a while, or there was those furry bears that were a phase. All of those are phases. You know, but when we talk about full service real estate, gang, full service real estate now has been around for over 100 years. Now, has it evolved over those 100 years? Absolutely. Will it continue to evolve? Absolutely. That's the industry that we're in. We're thinkers. We're innovators. Of course it's going to continue to evolve. But it's going to continue, and the most successful realtors are going to understand that as the world gets busier, the public is going to have less time to look after things, and it's going to be more of a trust than ever before. And you are going to bring them, you need to bring them a full service relationship. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. So if that's the 6 truths, let's talk about the 5 keys then. And I want you to use these 5 keys almost like a checklist. And what I mean by a checklist, gang, is that I'm a big believer, and I was taught years and years ago that professionals don't wing things. You know, how would we feel if you went to see your doctor and your doctor said you need a heart transplant? And you look at the doctor and say, how are you going to do that? And he said, don't worry about it. We do it every day. We do it every day. I do this, I do that, no big deal. We put you out, you wake up, everything's... No, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. Or if you're sitting with a lawyer and you've got a legal problem and the lawyer says, don't worry about a thing, I'll handle it all. Just write me the check for my trust account and I'll bill you and don't worry about it. That's not going to fly. You see, professionals, gang, professionals have a process. They have a process and they have certain things that have to be in place in order for them to move ahead, And one of the most simplest ones, if we go back to the doctor analogy, my youngest son, Nathan, was born at 1 pound, 12 ounces. And part of the side effects of having a premature baby or being a premature baby is that, especially the males, because of the iron lung or the life support, they can tend to have hernias. And when you take the baby in to the doctor and they're going to fix the hernia, there's certain things that you have to do the night before. You can't feed them after a certain time. They got to be there at a certain time. They're going to first do this and then do that. There's certain things that a professional has in place. It's no different than in the real estate industry, gang. The best of the best, the pros, they don't wing anything. Oh, they may make it look like they're winging it. I call that controlled nonchalance. But believe me, the best of the best aren't winging anything. So what keys should be in place to make sure that this listing is what we might call the Bonafide listing appointment, or in other words, a gettable? The first one is you need to make sure, especially with the FSBO, that you're going to get 2 hours with them. Now, what you don't want to have happen here, gang, and it happens over and over and over again when realtors are working FSBOs, is the FSBO will have them in the door. They'll spend about 15 or 20 minutes with them. They'll gather all the information from the realtor, from the price and what they have to do to market the home and everything else. And then the FSBO's got the realtor heading out the door. Problem is, 20 minutes, you're not going to be able to demonstrate your value proposition. You're not going to be able to demonstrate Royal LePage's value proposition. And you're certainly not going to be able to demonstrate to them how you're going to save them that money and put more money in their pocket. So you need to make sure that you've got at least 2 hours with them. So how would you do that? Well, it could be something as simple as this. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon, Mr. or Mrs. Does 3 o'clock work for you, or would 1 o'clock be better? I just want to make sure that we have enough time together. Okay, so 1 o'clock's okay, but you don't have anything after that for the afternoon, do you? Okay, great. All right, then I'll see you tomorrow at 1 or very close to that. So the first key is make sure you have 2 hours. You can't have 2 hours. Don't go if you don't have at least a minimum of an hour, gang. At least a minimum of an hour. Number 2, get in the door honestly. I was teaching a program, one of my Leaders' Choice programs out in Calgary one time. And week 4, we work on the for sale by owner. And, I teach the salespeople right from how to book the appointment to the dialogues they need, the scripting and all of that. And then I send them out to work for sale by owners that week, and they come back the following week and we work on what worked, what didn't work. We do some fine tuning and all of that. So I'm out in Calgary. There's about 200 people in the Leaders' Choice program with me, and we work on the FSBO, send them out to go work FSBOs that week. They come back the following week, and I get to class early, and I get talking to this 2 agents that run a little team. And I said to them, hey, how you doing? And they said, good. And I said, how was your week? They said, good. We had a great week. I said, really? I said, you get any FSBO appointments booked? Yep, we went on 7 and we got 4 FSBO. I said, what? 1 week you went on 7 appointments? Yep, we actually had 10 booked. We had 3 canceled, but we got on 7. And we got 4 listings. I said, wow, congratulations. How did you do that? The one agent looks at the other one and says, well, sometimes they were the buyer, sometimes I was the buyer. Well, gang, please don't ever do that. One thing I can tell you about the real estate industry is karma is alive and well. And You need to set the bar on what professional ethics is and professionalism in the real estate industry. So you always, always, always get in the door honestly. Number 3, when you're there, determine which one of the sellers will want to list. Let's assume there's a couple sitting there. I can guarantee you one of the people will want to sell it themselves because they believe they can. And normally what happens is the work gets dumped on the other one, but that's a whole different topic for a different day. But quite often, even if there's 3 or 4 people, one of them will want to sell the house themselves. There'll be one that will want to list it for sale and put the work on the realtor. You need to determine which one wants to list and make them your ally. The 4th key is you want to sell the security factor today more than ever. You know, Mr. and Mrs., I'm just curious, when someone comes to your house, they want to see your house. Do you let them in? Well, of course, we got a sign on saying it's for sale. Well, just so you know, we don't. In fact, before we even put somebody in our car, just for safety reasons, we generally get a copy of their driver's license. We get them pre-approved for financing so we know where they work. We have credit checks done on them. We just don't put strangers in the back seat of our car and take them into empty houses. That just wouldn't be safe for us. And I certainly wouldn't suggest that's safe for you either, especially in today's world. So you want to sell the security factor. Mr. and Mrs., some people list their houses with us just to keep the house safe. So that because they know that no one will be coming through this house unless the realtor has pre-approved them and they know who they are. And number 5, you want to have them listen to the 7 reasons why you can sell their house for more money in their pocket, even after paying you a commission. So let's talk about the 5 reasons now, gang. The first reason is the law of supply and demand. Now, remember something. When you get to this part of your presentation, you always want to start off with Mr. and Mrs., or whatever the couple may be, okay? You want to reassure the couple that you believe that they can sell their house themselves. Just you think that you can sell it and get them more money for it. Really important, because you don't want the meeting to be a meeting of animosity. You want to come together as a meeting of minds. And the first reason is the law of supply and demand. So you might ask one of the couple and say to them, you know what, I got to ask you something. You've had the property on the market now for about 30 days. Are you working with many people? Actually, Mark, yeah, we got 4 people that have come and seen it. Okay, great. And any offers? No. Okay, all right. Well, maybe one of them will come through. But you see, Mr. and Mrs., I don't know if you're aware of this, but in this marketplace, we have approximately about 1,500 realtors that work in this marketplace. Now, each of those realtors, according to statistics, believe that they're working with anywhere from about 8 to 10 buyers at any given time. So if we took, just used a round number of 5 buyers, and we times those 5 buyers by 1,500, that means that 1,500 realtors are working with 7,500 buyers at any given time. And they personally, and it takes us on average right now about 30 to 45 days to get a house sold. Now, Mr. and Mrs., again, I'm not saying that you can't sell your house yourself, but let me ask you this question. Do you believe that 1,500 realtors with 7,500 potential buyers could maybe sell the house quicker for you? And if we sold it quicker, there's a good chance we could get you more money. The second reason then, come on here. The second reason then would be the longer it takes to sell, the more money the for sale by owner is going to lose. Now, what you want to do here, gang, is you want to make a list of some of the different reasons why the FSBO could lose money because it's taking longer. For example, interest rates might go up. They might not, but they might. And if they do, here's what it could cost you. If interest rates go up, generally speaking, house prices go down. Maybe not a lot, but on 800,000, even if they drop 3 or 4%, that's $32,000. Is that a lot of money to you? Yeah, well, that's not the worst of it. Are you going to buy a new home? Yeah, well, just because all the other houses are dropping, new homes generally keep going up in value. And gang, this is not even counting what it might cost them to do marketing, what costs them for their time invested while they're doing the open houses that they'll have to do. The third reason is buyers only shop for sale by owner to save the commission. Now, I got to ask you guys something, Miss FSBOs. Why are you selling the house privately? Well, we want to save the commission, Mark. Okay. And I understand that. But let me ask you something. If you did sell, if someone was going to buy your house and buy your house privately, they're basically going to hand you, and let's just say, for example, for today's webinar, gang, the people are asking $500,000 for their house. The buyer's going to hand you $500,000, and you're going to hand them an old piece of paper that says, called a deed, and they get the house. Now, why would a buyer do that? You know, why wouldn't a buyer work with a realtor? You know, the realtor gets them pre-approved for financing. We drive them around on the weekend, showing them places. We make sure that we shop and get the best interest rates for them. We arrange home inspections for them. Before they make offers, we may do a market evaluation for them. In other words, the buyer's agent really protects the home buyer. And generally speaking, that they get paid by the commission on the sale of the property, whatever that may be, whatever the seller determines that they may want to pay to a selling broker. But that being the case, when they have an opportunity to have all of these protections in place, why would they buy a house privately? Well, I can tell you there's only one reason why they would buy the house privately, and that's because they're thinking, well, I'm taking all the risk as the buyer, so let's knock the commission off the price of the house. And that's where they'll start negotiating. So whatever they think the commission might be in their mind as the buyer, let's say the buyer thinks that commission are 5% today. Commissions are always negotiable, remember, but I'm just talking about the buying public. In their mind, they think it's 5%. The property's asking, the guy wants 20, or the people want $25,000 for the property. So 5% of 500,000 is, I'm sorry, they want $500,000 for the house. So 5% of 500,000, that's $25,000. So right away, the buyer's going to take 25 grand off because they're taking all the risk. You see, you can't save the same commission twice. Can't save the same commission twice. Now, a sharp buyer, they'll come back and they'll say this. They'll say, well, then we'll split the commission with them, Mark. And I would say to them, okay, so we're really not talking about saving 5%, let's say. We're talking about saving 2.5%. Right. Okay, just so I'm clear on that. The fourth reason why we can put more money in their pocket is that we are trained to separate the looker from the buyer. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, Mr. or Mrs., but earlier you guys said you had about 4 buyers, and the local real estate community, the agents that work in this area, have about 7,500 buyers. Now, what I can tell you about those 7,500 buyers is we already know that 70% of them are going to have frozen equity, meaning they've got to sell their house first, which is about 5,000 people. There's going to be another 10% that after they find out the cost of buying a house, and they'd just rather stay renting and maybe invest in the stock market instead. There'll be another 10% that won't get qualified for financing, which leaves us with about 10% of those people are really ready, willing, and able to buy a house. Now 10% of 7,500 is about 750. I can work that math out. But can you tell me what 10% of 4 might be? You see, Mr. and Mrs., I'm not being sarcastic with you. I'm just being honest with you. And sometimes being a professional is telling people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Number 5, third-party negotiation saves money. Now, I can tell you, I'm in the real estate business and have been going on 4 decades now. And I can tell you, Mr. or Mrs. or FSBO, that I wouldn't sell the house, my own house, privately. Why? Well, let's say I'm asking $800,000 for my house and someone comes along and wants to offer me 7. Am I going to get upset? Absolutely, I'm going to get upset. It's my house. I learned that a long time ago. You don't sell your house yourself privately. Always hire another realtor to do it. Yeah, you may get a referral fee back for it or work out something on the commission. But the point is that we get paid, and part of our job is third-party negotiating. And so if someone made you an offer on your $500,000 property and they wanted to offer 4.25, that'd probably make you angry, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but it wouldn't make me angry. It wouldn't make me angry. I would just roll up my sleeves and get in the trenches and say, this is great. This is great. We got them on paper. I got something to work with. The 6th reason is marketing strategies equal exposure. Exposure equals more buyers, and more buyers equal more money. Now with number 6, I would have a visual done up with a list of all of the marketing services you as a realtor and Royal LePage as a real estate company offer the public to get their house sold. Remember that the more exposure, more buyers, more money. And I would do it in such a way, gang, that I would pull that out, that visual, and you can have some fun with it and say, you know, Mr. or Mrs. or FSBO or whoever is on the appointment, however they want to identify in today's world, gang, is that you want to go through what each of the services are and that you offer, and ask them kind of in a fun way, just for fun. You know, I see that you got your for sale sign there, and the for sale sign is great, it looks good. But what other marketing have you done? Well, we've done this and that, Mark. We'll say, well, let me pull out, if you decided to list with Mark Leader and Royal LePage, here's a list of all of our marketing. And so do you put it on the MLS? No, one for me. You put it on the internet and all of these sites? No, another one for me. And you want to go through and you want to demonstrate to them. And then you want to say to them at the end, you know, Mr. and Mrs., the reason I did this exercise with you was to demonstrate to you why Royal LePage has been around for over 100 years, because we are on the cutting edge of getting homes marketed and sold. Because these marketing strategies equal exposure. The more people that are aware that your house is for sale means there's more buyers. And when you have more buyers wanting to buy something specifically, you're going to achieve a higher price. And number 7, security equals peace of mind. You know, let me ask you something. Going back to the security issue, and let's just assume for a second that it was 2.5% that you were going to save on $500,000. That's about $12,500. Is that the value that we're putting on our family safety? I can't answer that for you. Only you can. But you know, when you go back and you look at the law of supply and demand, we have 750 buyers right now, ready, willing, and able to do something. We're trained negotiators to make sure you get the best price. We'll make sure your family's safe because we separate the looker from the buyer. We'll get the home sold quicker for you, so it won't cost you as much money, even just in marketing and promotion yourself. And because of our marketing, we're going to attract more buyers, and we're going to put more money in your pocket. So that's the 7 reasons, gang, why you can put more money in the for sale by owner's pocket, even after paying you a commission. even after paying your commission. So let me just recap it with everything that we've worked on here over the last 45 minutes or so. There's 6 main takeaways that I want you to take away from this presentation today. Number 1, let the process handle the appointment, not you. Follow the process, the LISTING. Number 2, review the 6 truths and internalize them. Number 3, use the 5 T's as a checklist or make it a bona fide to make sure it's a bona fide appointment. Number 4, memorize the 7 reasons why you can sell a for sale by owner's home faster for more money, even after paying you a commission. And when you do your cost associated with waiting and tie it back against the 2.5% savings, gang, they'll just blow them away. You'll just blow them away. Number 5, you want to make sure that you create a specific for sale by owner presentation. And you want to rehearse the delivery. You know, you always want to use a pre-planned in-the-can presentation, always. Why? Because you want to master it. And you want to use the same one over and over and over again. And gang, please don't wing it. Please don't wing it. You know, and the dollars that we're making on selling a house today, don't wing it. Your family deserves better. You deserve better. Go in as a professional and have everything put together that you need. Whether you use it all or not, it's another thing. But a good cook will tell you the one time you need that one utensil is probably when you don't have it. So make sure you take everything with you, gang. And number 6, if you want to have everything put together for you already, you can go to the markleader.com website, and in there there's a presentation done for you already in PowerPoint where you can personalize it. All the scripts are there for you for your calling or your door knocking or how to get the FSBO appointment booked, and also all done in audio of me calling for sale by owners. And then there's also me doing a live presentation to a for sale by owner. I want to finish up with 2 things. The first one is this. It's a rule of thumb that I've used for years and years and years. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can do it well. You know, gang, to master the for sale by owner, it's like anything else. You're going to have to fall off the bike. You're going to have to skin your knee, and you're going to have to get back on that bike. But I can promise you, the more times you do it, the better you get. The better you get, the less you'll have to do it to get to the results that you want to achieve. Let me wrap up the webinar, and I hand it back over to Dave with a very short poem that I like to finish up with that goes like this. I bargained for life for a penny, and life would pay me no more. As I sat in the evening and I counted my scanty store. For life, you see, is just an employer. He'll pay you just what you ask. But once you set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire only to learn dismay that any wage I would have asked out of life would have willingly paid. Thank you all for having me. God bless you all. I hope you have a great year. Go out and take control of those FSBO appointments and make a bunch of money.
Thank you for that great content and your presentation. So let's take a few moments to answer some of the questions that were in the chat. So the first question came from Mark, and suggestions for sources for FSBO.
That you're going to be looking and digging around in a lot of different places. The first one is believe it or not, I check out Kijiji. I would check out Facebook Marketplace. I would go online to check your local, I guess we still call them newspapers, but online newspapers in the buy and sell section. I would keep your eyes open everywhere you drive in town, almost like spidey senses. Believe it or not, even places like corkboards at your local shopping centers.
All right, thanks, Mark. The next question was from Olympia, who was asking whether or not you have some scripts that you would be able to share.
I have those. There you have to go to markleader.com, and the for sale by owner presentation is there for them. The written scripts are there for them to make their calls or to make their door knocks, and written scripts for the appointment itself. Plus, there's audio that goes along with it of me calling for sale by owners live and also doing a for sale by owner presentation in itself.
There was also another question from Olympia. How do you approach FSBO if 98% of them are on DNC list? If in person at the door, how do you suggest we bring value or we are different from all the other agents disturbing the owners?
Yeah, well, I think if I was sitting with you in a classroom or doing a coaching session with you, I'd first dig into the words of disturbing the owners, because that mindset, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So you're not disturbing the owners if you're bringing a unique value proposition to them that will actually help them. That's in my opinion. And honestly, probably about 80% of your success in the real estate industry is going to be the power of your mind. That's your biggest competitor out there. It's not interest rates or other people. So you got to believe in your service. That's the first thing. If they're on the do not call, you have to respect that. And I would go knock on their door. And when I knocked on their door, if they didn't answer, I'd leave them a package, and then I'd go back again and knock on their door again. And I'd leave them something, I'd go back and knock on their door again. And I'd continue to do that. That's how I would handle it.
Mark, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great summer.
Please subscribe below to receive all the videos and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Mark Leader. See you soon.